Jeff was living the American dream. At 42, he had a loving wife, two bright young kids, and a golden retriever named Max, who was more family than pet. He held a senior position at a major telecommunications company, a job that was not just a job, but a career he had built over 15 years. The work was challenging, the pay was excellent, and life was comfortable. They had a home in the suburbs, 2 cars in the driveway, and the future looked bright. But in the world of technology, stability can be an illusion. One Tuesday morning, during a mandatory all-hands meeting, the illusion shattered. The company announced a massive restructuring. Jeff, along with hundreds of his colleagues, was laid off. For the first few weeks, Jeff maintained a sense of optimism. With his experience and skill set, he thought finding a new role would be a straightforward process. He updated his resume, polished his online profiles, and started applying for jobs with the discipline of a full-time employee. But the market was tougher than he had anticipated. Weeks turned into months. The initial optimism slowly eroded, replaced by a gnawing anxiety. He went through countless interviews, first rounds, second rounds, even final rounds. Each time he would get his hopes up, only to receive the familiar, soul-crushing email. "Thank you for your interest, but we've decided to move forward with another candidate." 11 months of relentless searching, of feigning confidence he no longer felt, of watching their savings dwindle. The pressure was immense. His wife was supportive, but he could see the worry in her eyes. He was the provider, and he felt like he was failing his family. Desperation began to set in, a cold, heavy weight in the pit of his stomach. It was in this state of vulnerability that the message arrived. It came through a professional networking platform, a message from a recruiter. The recruiter's profile looked legitimate, professional. The message was concise and to the point. They had a role that seemed tailor-made for Jeff. It was a senior technical position, almost identical to the one he had held at his previous company. The hiring company, the recruiter explained, was a fast-growing contracting firm that worked with major players in the telecom industry. The compensation package they described was almost too good to be true. A high 6-figure salary, comprehensive benefits, a generous vacation policy, and even a substantial sign-on bonus. For a man who had spent nearly a year facing rejection, this felt like a lifeline. A wave of excitement, the first he had felt in a long time, washed over him. He replied immediately, expressing his keen interest. The interview process moved with surprising speed. The day after his initial enthusiastic reply, Jeff was on a video call for the first round. The interview was with 2 individuals who introduced themselves as senior managers from the contracting firm. The conversation was pleasant, focusing on standard behavioral questions. They asked about his leadership style, how he handled conflict, and his proudest professional achievements. It was all textbook. Jeff, a seasoned interviewee by this point, answered with ease and confidence. That same evening, the recruiter called. Jeff's heart pounded as he answered the phone. The recruiter was ecstatic. "They loved you, Jeff. The feedback was outstanding. We're moving you to the final round." Jeff could hardly believe it. The final round. After so many rejections, he was finally on the verge of an offer. But then came the next request. The recruiter explained that to expedite the offer letter after the final interview, they needed his references now. They wanted a list of 3 people he had worked with at his previous company, complete with their titles, email addresses, and direct phone numbers. Jeff hesitated. Providing references before a formal offer was unconventional. It was a step usually reserved for the very end of the process. He voiced his concern to the recruiter. The recruiter's tone shifted slightly, becoming more persuasive, more urgent. "Look, Jeff," the recruiter said, "this is just a formality to keep the process moving. We won't contact them until after your final interview is done, and we're ready to make the offer. But not providing the details now could delay everything. We have other candidates in the pipeline, and we want to move fast with our top choice." The mention of other candidates sent a jolt of fear through Jeff. He couldn't risk a delay. He couldn't risk losing this opportunity. Against his better judgment, he compiled the list of his former colleagues and sent it over. The final interview was the next day. It was with the same 3 senior architects from the technical round. This time, the pretense of a normal interview was gone. They told him that since the company they were hiring for was also a major telecom player, they needed to be absolutely sure he would be a good fit. They needed to understand the depth of his hands-on experience. One of the interviewers shared their screen. On it was a blank diagramming tool. "Jeff," the interviewer said, "could you walk us through the high-level architecture of the core network at your previous company? Just a simple block diagram." Jeff froze. This was a clear and direct request for proprietary, confidential information. This went far beyond any reasonable interview question. He hesitated, stammering that he wasn't sure he was comfortable sharing that level of detail. The interviewer's friendly demeanor vanished. One of them spoke, his voice now cold and firm. "Jeff, we have another candidate in the final stages who also comes from the telecom industry. He was very open in discussing his experience with similar systems. We need to hire someone with proven, hands-on experience. We can't take a risk on someone who might not be able to handle the technology." The words hit Jeff like a physical blow. They were questioning his competence, his experience. They were dangling the job, his family's security, right in front of him and making it conditional on his willingness to betray his former employer's trust. The weight of 11 months of unemployment, of feeling like a failure, pressed down on him. He felt trapped. He trudged on, reluctantly opening up and sketching out a simplified version of the system diagrams they asked for, answering their probing questions about traffic management, redundancy, and security layers. He felt a deep sense of shame as he did it, but the desperation for the job overrode everything else. He just wanted to get to the end of the interview, to get the offer, to put an end to this nightmare. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the interview was over. The lead interviewer's face softened slightly. "Thank you, Jeff. That was very helpful. The recruiter will be in contact with you soon." A sense of relief washed over Jeff. It was done. He had done what they asked. The offer was surely just a formality now. But the recruiter didn't contact him. A day went by, silence. Jeff sent a polite follow-up email, no response. The anxiety started to creep back in, a cold dread spreading through his chest. The second day passed, still nothing. The recruiter's profile on the networking platform, once so active, was now dormant. Jeff's calls to the recruiter went straight to voicemail. His emails to the interviewers bounced back with an address not found error. It was as if they had vanished into thin air. They had ghosted him. What happened to Jeff is not an isolated incident. It's a new and deeply alarming form of corporate and national espionage, a sophisticated scam that preys on the desperation of job seekers. These aren't your typical scammers looking for a quick financial score. These are highly organized, often state-sponsored, threat actors. Their goal is intelligence. They target individuals who have worked in critical infrastructure sectors, telecommunications, energy, finance, defense, companies that form the backbone of our nation. Here's how the scam works. The threat actors create fake but convincing personas and companies. They build professional-looking websites and populate networking platforms with profiles of recruiters and executives. They use job descriptions scraped from real companies to lure in their targets. They are looking for people like Jeff, experienced professionals who are currently unemployed and therefore more vulnerable to psychological manipulation. The entire interview process is a carefully staged operation designed for one purpose: to extract proprietary and confidential information. The behavioral questions build a false sense of security. The technical questions are the heart of the operation, designed to probe for details about internal systems, security protocols, and network architecture. The request for references is not for checking your work history, it's for identifying their next set of targets. The colleagues Jeff named were now on their list. This is incredibly dangerous, not just for the companies involved, but for the job seekers themselves. By unknowingly disclosing confidential information, you could be putting yourself in serious legal jeopardy. You could be violating non-disclosure agreements you signed with your former employer, opening yourself up to civil lawsuits. Even more seriously, you could be unwittingly aiding foreign intelligence services, becoming an accomplice in espionage. The professional and psychological toll is immense. The feeling of being used, of having your trust and desperation exploited, can be devastating. So how do you protect yourself? You need to be vigilant and learn to recognize the red flags. First, be wary of offers that seem too good to be true. An unusually high salary, a massive sign-on bonus, and a perfect job description can all be lures. Second, scrutinize the company. Don't just rely on their website. Search for the company and the recruiter's names online. Look for news articles, press releases, and independent reviews. If the company has a minimal online presence or seems to have appeared out of nowhere, that's a major red flag. Third, and this is the most critical point, pay close attention to the questions they ask. An interview is for a company to assess your skills and experience, not to get a free consultation on your former employer's internal operations. If the questions shift from, "Tell me about a time you designed a system," to "Tell me exactly how your former company designed their system," the alarm bells should be ringing. Never, under any circumstances, should you share confidential or proprietary information. This includes detailed system diagrams, source code, customer data, or internal security procedures. Fourth, be protective of your references. Do not provide references until you have a formal, written job offer in hand. The pressure to provide them early is a manipulation tactic. So, what should you do instead? If you find yourself in an interview and the questions become inappropriately probing, you have the right to push back. You can say something like, "I'm very happy to discuss my personal experience and the skills I developed in my previous role, but I'm bound by a non-disclosure agreement and cannot discuss the proprietary details of my former employer's systems." A legitimate company will respect this. A scam operation will likely increase the pressure or end the interview. If you suspect you have been targeted by a scam like this, you should report it immediately. Contact the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center, or IC3. You should also alert your former employer so they can take steps to mitigate any potential damage. Jeff's story is a cautionary tale for our times. The search for a job is an emotional roller coaster, and it's easy to let your guard down when you're feeling desperate. But it's in those moments of vulnerability that we must be the most vigilant. Your experience and your knowledge are valuable. Make sure you are sharing them with a legitimate employer, not a foreign agent in disguise.